Hello, Arthur. Hello, Christy. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Big snowstorm expected starting tomorrow. The epicenter currently is going to be at the House of Housatonic Live, where I broadcast out of my room. Tonight's show is titled SOHO House Candace Owens Update Stream, and threw a couple other names in the title: Jeffrey Epstein, Jesse Jackson, and more. What we're going to be reviewing is a news story which you may or may not have seen. You can see a couple of thumbnail pictures here, other videos on YouTube. One from 2 weeks ago, one is was from 5 days ago. The one that 2 weeks ago was titled Candace Owens Releases SOHO House Membership Files 89 Men. Meghan, meaning Meghan Markle, was VIP, very important person, companion. The first title that you see is Meghan Markle, caught with VIP elites after Candace Owens leaks SOHO House files. I haven't been watching a lot of Candace Owens live over the last couple of weeks, variety of different reasons. I'm not a 24/7 Candace Owens person. I've encouraged my audience, I think you guys are here as well, would fall into this, to identify Candace Owens as someone we can collectively learn a lot from studying her, from studying her career trajectory, from studying how she is being presented, hoisted, the visibility, by whom, with how much energy, when her visibility goes up, when it goes down, the things in her own past which have been censored or misunderstood. I've learned a lot about many people, a lot about the media control machine, a lot about the how so much of what is put in front of us through social media is fake and a stage. I've learned so much about how conservative America is being ruthlessly, violently sabotaged right now. I'm sure there is an analogy to that for people who identify themselves as progressive or liberal. I just can't study that side as well. Presumably, there's something analogous on that side as well. But much of this can be understood, and there's just remarkable connections to critical events over the last 10 years or so. So I don't learn much from studying Candace Owens, her day-to-day actions. People say, what did she say about Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France today? Not much to learn. But checking in from time to time and then seeing how the temperature goes up or go down. And I didn't even know about this story because I've actually been excited about diversifying a little bit. In particular, a really bold video I did a couple days ago where now I can see, and I'm not the first person to think about it, but the last 50, 60, 70 years of the space program is so wrapped up in genetic research that it's almost impossible to really think of it existing for any reason other than to advance knowledge of the human genome. And getting involved in the evolution of the human species. I can't even see the space program in any other way. The rocketry and all that stuff is as a side story compared to what the real motivation of it is. And we learn a lot by what people don't say. One of the things that you can learn a lot from Candace Owens or from many other people right now in the United States on the public stage is just how they will not mention the very existence of approximately 20 to 25% of the world, and that is India. They just don't acknowledge the existence of India. They don't say India. They don't mention how India is on track to having the world's largest economy in 10 or 15 years. The enormous political influence in the United States of America. In fact, they use the nation of Israel, which is smaller GDP than Peru, to effectively be the front for operations which really are mostly India. So the remarkable absence, just in talking about Greenland, in U.S. At least executive branch interests in having control, ownership of, influence of whatever, a potential invasion of Greenland is really about India's, how would you say, rapidly growing, maturing relationship with Russia and being a big part of helping Russia secure control in the Arctic Ocean. So the fact that it's just never said, it's not debated. It's just not said. This is the top down. You can't say it. It's remarkable that you just can't say India. No one will say India. This doesn't exist. That's how the argument is being made, and there's flooding people with thinking that Jeffrey Epstein, who at least officially has been dead now for 10 years, 8 years, he's not even around anymore. But someone that's been dead for 8 years did 20 or 30 years ago, supposedly still is responsible for controlling the world, by a nation that's smaller than Peru, GDP wise, and is only 49th or 50th on the GDP or per capita income. So, anyways, this story about SOHO here, which is, I'll review it. You can open up the Wikipedia page. It's like I would say it's a men's club, but it's a club for people who have a lot of money. It's very exclusive. It's a place that you will go to, I guess, if you're a billionaire male, to meet a potential partner who is maybe at the level that you would be searching for. Beautiful, someone who is professional, will represent you. I don't know. So it is a club, but it's not like a dance club. Okay, it's really not a dating service. I don't really know how to best describe it. We'll open up the page, and I guess that Candace Owens here, because I never even heard, I didn't even know these videos existed until 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago maybe. It says that she suddenly has information about this exclusive, very private club that shows that Meghan Markle was marketing herself there, trying to meet people before she ever got involved with the royal family over in England. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I actually am not interested in that at all. People are going to meet people however they meet people, and there's almost no marriage on earth, good marriage or bad marriage, other than my very own, that really matters. How we are going to better understand our future, where we are going, based upon the path we've been on. It explains all of this insanity, which explains the COVID pandemic, murdering people with toxic levels of oxygen, and a relentless, unstopped, fatal drug overdose epidemic in the United States of America, misuse of data, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't really care about genitalia. Of course, I care about my own, but of other people and of other royal families, other celebrities. Everyone's got their thing, okay? And so the point here is that I'm not interested. And in fact, if I did see this article in my corner of my eye, I immediately would have ignored it, because I'm like, I don't care who she met. I don't care if she had extra partners. I don't care. It's not my deal. It's not my business, really. It isn't my business unless it immediately impacts me in a way, which Candace Owens hasn't convinced me. Here she's just talking trash about somebody else. Whatever. Anyways. So what can we learn from this? Why? Because that's what this video is about tonight. It's a review. I'm not going to do any deep dives into reading the articles for you tonight, anyways. But this review, I should say, what led to tonight's show. Several people here. That's good. What led to tonight's show was an observation that there was a video on YouTube on a channel from a let's just say a renowned alt-right media influencer, podcaster, face, talker, yipper, yapper, Stefan Molyneux, a bald, midget white dude up in Canada that for some reason has made his entire job talking about politics in the United States of America. I don't know why. I don't even know who the president is. Is it still Trudeau? I don't know. I don't even know who's running Canada right now. And I have Canadian friends, okay? The point, though, is, I mean, I should know, but if I don't know, so what? Why would I do a whole show to talk about who's running another country right now when I have so many challenges in my own country, which my own countrymen and women can't even see, can't even agree upon? So I don't understand how he has made his entire career in another nation, not even in my nation, talking about my nation. I was born in the United States. My parents were born in the United States. All my grandparents were born in the United States. Most of my great-grandparents were born in the United States. I have some roots that go back thousands of years on this continent. I don't know if I'm the most American person you'll ever meet, but I'm American. I live in America. I want a strong America going forward. I speak for America. I don't tell other countries their business. I'm not making my life getting online telling Mexico or Cuba or Canada or Peru or Israel or China or India what they need to do. I speak for my country from within my own country, and most of the people, as far as I know, I'm not vetting every dollar. I can barely make enough to break even doing this thing here, comes from within my own country. And I don't go to Lithuania or Romania or Fiji or someplace weird to talk about my country. I talk about my country within my country. And I don't know why much of this fake alt-right populist movement needs to go to weird islands off of Norway, hang out in a cave and, sit around naked around a fire and then talk about what America needs to do. Just do it here. Do it here. Grab a small hall somewhere, get some McDonald's, be some Americans. Just deal with your business here about America. Anyways, Stefan Molyneux, a video of his, which I have watched some of it. I didn't want to watch too much because I'd only have so many paper towels to wipe off the projectile vomiting off my monitors here. So I had to keep it to a small amount. It's a 1 hour and 7-minute video. Stefan Molyneux interviewing Candace Owens back on I think it's September 10th, if I think I have the date right, September 10th, 2017. First year of the Trump presidency. Charlottesville Unite the Right rally thing happened in July, August of 2017. It's a tough year. Every year since then has been pretty tough. And in that interview, I can finally start to understand Stefan Molyneux is an actor. He's professionally trained in acting and drama. He's an actor. He's an actor who knows how to speak, who knows how to articulate well, an actor who has had on people such as Paul Cottrell, Kevin McCairn. Stefan Molyneux is a trained drama actor, quite literally, whose job it is to have early interviews with people and help them refine their message. That is Stefan Molyneux. I don't know how smart he is. I'm not stupid enough to say that he's not smart. I don't know. He waxes on intellectually about all kinds of things from time to time, and he's never wrong. He just seems to be looking in the camera, telling people what they should be doing in their own business, even though they don't even live in the same country that he lives in. But whatever the case, he's like a loading program. It's almost like The Matrix, where you get loaded in, the movie The Matrix, you get loaded in, and you have a chair and there's a white background. And Stefan Molyneux is actually the same thing. You have Stefan Molyneux with his blank white background. It's like you have to go through the Stefan Molyneux loader who will coach you about who you are and the things that you need to say. That's what Stefan Molyneux does. So one of the first interviews that Candace Owens had in this podcast space, she was on InfoWars a little bit in 2016. I don't think she did that great. I think they thought she was cute, but it didn't really work out. I don't even think Candace Owens understood why she was there still. Anyway, Stefan Molyneux is kind of coaching her. And you can see Candace Owens in these interviews, especially the first one, she really wants to talk about this social autopsy company that she was involved in, possibly even spearheaded the social autopsy product of this Degree180.com in 2016 that got her involved in Gamergate. And Stefan Molyneux kept kind of brushing it off. Stefan Molyneux was trying to get Candace back on point. And the point that he wanted her on was, you are a smart, young, well-spoken black woman who is now a conservative. That's what we need you on. And he keeps bringing her back. And I don't think Candace Owens quite understood why she was there yet. She was being recruited as part of this, Milo Yiannopoulos, populist, fake alt-right bullshit that Steve Bannon was overseeing, probably with the help of Mike Flynn, after the most likely assassination of Andrew Breitbart back in 2012. It was 2012. So Candace Owens is on the Stefan Molyneux program. And there's a clip there that I've played before, and I've shared it as a 1-minute video, where Candace Owens talks about her experience in high school, where she states that she was a victim of a race-based hate crime in Stanford High School in Connecticut. Remember, I grew up in southern Connecticut, Bridgeport, and for a little while, Trumbull. And in there, when she was talking about how that went, what her perspective on that was, mentioning the NAACP, that's the National Association, I think it's the Association for the Advancement of Colored People in the United States of America. It mostly focuses on Black Americans. She mentioned that there were people of a high status, names that you would know, and she mentioned Al Sharpton and Jesse, and what she meant to say was Jesse Jackson. And she didn't say the full thing, I believe, because she realized the moment that she's not supposed to say Jesse Jackson. I believe one of the reasons why she realizes she shouldn't have said Jesse Jackson in this September 10th, 2017 interview, this is Candace Owens, is because one of Jesse Jackson's best all-time friends, lifelong, is a guy named Mark Weiner, who passed in 2016 in Rhode Island, not too far from here. And Mark Weiner is one of the top fundraisers of the Democratic National Party. And he also owned a company that manufactured all of the DNC paraphernalia for DNC events, T-shirts, buttons, flags, stuff like that. And again, was one of the top fundraisers and became very good friends with the Clintons. And in fact, was so politically connected that he was responsible for handling scheduling in the White House during the Carter administration between 1976 and 1979. This is Mark Weiner of Rhode Island. And Mark Weiner's daughter, Zoe Weiner, is the person that Candace Owens started a company with. So it's basically mathematically impossible. That's just a random chance that from her race-based hate crime charges that happened in high school, in Stanford High School in Connecticut, 2005 and 2006 and 7, it's impossible that she wasn't introduced to Jesse Jackson, given the fact that she then went to a college where she would have gotten an easy in because of Jackson, and then starts a company because of with the daughter of one of Jesse Jackson's best friends. Matter of fact, Mark Weiner was so close to Jesse Jackson that Jesse Jackson made Mark Weiner the godfather of Jesse Jackson's own grandchildren. And then after college, Candace Owens went to work at Vogue magazine for a year, owned by Anna Wintour, and Vogue is also where the daughter of that Mark Weiner went. And now you're back to more Mark Weiner, Jesse Jackson connections. Anyways, Candace Owens made a mistake by starting to say Jesse Jackson, but then stopping herself. She should have just said the whole thing. The fact that she stopped herself means that she does know Jesse Jackson. She was involved with Jesse Jackson. I'm not saying romantically. I just mean like through this race-based hate crime allegation from high school. And she knew she shouldn't say it, so she stopped abruptly. So the point here is that I noticed yesterday while doing some house cleaning that the full 1 hour and 7-minute video was deleted. It was deleted within the last, presumably, 2 or 3 weeks after I initially discovered it and after I shared the clip that she said Jesse J, meaning she confessed in that video of knowing Jesse Jackson since high school. So it's a big deal. And there's a lot of other things in that video as well. You can see how this Stefan Molyneux character is part of the loader, is training. He's actively training her to say some things. And when Candace Owens, to her credit, wants to talk more about Gamergate, wants to talk more about protecting teens against online abuse, etc., Stefan Molyneux is like, that's nice. Well, let's talk about how being a smart, educated black woman is really going to upset the libs. He keeps changing it. So Candace Owens is not is not going to be in the Mount Rushmore of honesty, okay? She's not on the Mount Rushmore of honesty. Candace Owens will fudge. She will fabricate. She will push things. So I don't mean to say that everything from Candace Owens is noble, honest, and is on the up and up. I don't mean to say that at all right? But I can't stand it when people just assume that everything somebody does is for a bad reason, for a selfish reason. They assume everything is a lie. They assume everyone is nothing but evil, or they assume that people are just plain stupid. I can't stand that stuff, and I don't tolerate it in my program. And I don't want to work with people, okay, that don't allocate for the and factor in the complexities of real people. Candace Owens is not from money, and she wound up in this mess through a series of chance encounters that are a product of her parents, factor of herself, her environment, and sometimes just luck. And here she is. She was not trained as like a child to become the Candace Owens that we see today. It's I find her story to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, so I've noticed that the full video was deleted. To me, that's acknowledgement, as usual, I'm right. That means that her confession of saying that she knew Jesse Jackson, big deal. Big deal. It means her role with getting at that company with Zoe Weiner, the daughter of Mark Weiner, big deal. Okay, validated. Deleting things to me is so rewarding. I love it when people delete things because I can see what, now I know. When people don't talk about something, when people find a way to, talk about Israel, nonstop and not even mention the very existence of India, who is basically Israel's future, I can tell. That's impossible. If someone wants to explain a space program, such as on Redacted or the Dark Journalist, you should be listening to the Mark Journalist, by the way, without ever mentioning the name of Joshua Lederberg, I know that they are incompetent or full of shit. That's it. You cannot understand the U.S. space program in any useful, meaningful way without saying the name Joshua Lederberg regularly. You can't. You can't understand 9/11 without mentioning the name of Joshua Lederberg. For real, you can't. You not understand the origins of the Human Genome Project without giving appropriate acknowledgments to Joshua Lederberg. You're not going to understand the Kennedy assassination without mentioning the fact that one of the most trusted and beloved politicians in the United States government at that time, and someone that Kennedy trusted probably more than anyone else in the U.S. government, and had just completed not too long before that amendments to the FDA, which included the verbiage of safe and effective, happened to just drop dead on the Senate floor just several weeks before Kennedy was shot. And every single person that is still going hog wild trying to understand the Kennedy assassination without ever mentioning the name of Estes Kefauver is obviously incompetent or totally full of shit and is out to you. Okay. And likewise, if you try and understand what's going on in the world right now and ignore India, it's like ignoring Europe. It's like saying, well, if you take a boat out of Boston, you just wind up in the Ukraine. Yeah, there's no Alps, Italy, France, England. They just don't exist. You just go from Boston to Ukraine. Well, that's stupid because Europe is there. But that's exactly how the conversation is going right now. There's Russia, there's Israel, and China and the U.S., and that's it. There's nothing in the middle. That's it. It's absurd. Likewise, trying to understand world geopolitics without mentioning Russia or China is equally as ridiculous. But to be fair, given the fact that the most people in the world of any country live in India, you could make a point right now that aside from the United States, the one country that you shouldn't be ignoring is India. Yet every channel does it. So anyways, Stefan Molyneux video, deleted, gone, done. So, Jesse Jackson matters. So, where does that bring us? That brings us to these videos. Candace Owens at some point made and this is episode 1459. It is 8:13 p.m. Saturday, January 24th, 2026. Candace Owens, and why these videos? Why does this matter? Candace Owens made a point in one of her interviews in 2017. She said, no, in fact, it was on a blog post in 2016, a deleted blog post. Again, I know it's a good blog post because she deleted it. And I reviewed that blog post. She said she admired the conscious capitalism methods and ideas of a guy named John Mackey, who is the founder and CEO of Whole Foods, big grocery chain in the United States of America, Whole Foods. They were purchased by Amazon, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, and Mackey remained the functioning CEO, but has stepped down over the last 2 or 3 years. He's now working, by the way, at a Live Forever life extension company. So you already know that this matters. Oh, yeah, by the way, the first governor in the United States of America that implemented a quarantine law for laws for Ebola with the Ebola outbreak in 2016, just throwing this one out there, was Governor Malloy of Connecticut, whose son is the person that Candace Owens accused of assaulting her in high school. Just saying. And of course, that was back in 2007, but that's a pretty strange thing. Also, what's really, really strange is the person that was first kicked off Twitter, the first Twitter censorship that I know of for doxing someone, was a guy named Chuck Johnson. You know, little redhead guy who grew a beard. Chuck Johnson, who was photographed by Peter Duke for the New York Times. Chuck Johnson, who just wound up on Fox News and the Meghan Kelly show later in the year 2012 with missing Obama tapes. The same Obama tapes that Andrew Breitbart was going to bring to Fox News before he died of an unexpected heart failure. But anyways, just throwing that one out there. Peter Duke, also a photographer of Candace Owens. But anyways, I digress yet again. That's what happens when you have a lot of information to share. Knowing that Jesse Jackson was important, we now review the family of Jesse Jackson. We know Jesse Jackson was at the funeral of Mark Weiner. We know that one of Jesse Jackson's sons was arrested and served, I think, 30 months in jail for some embezzlement charge or something like that. I don't think it was exactly embezzlement. I don't know exactly what it was. He was a elected official in the Chicago area or for Illinois. And Jesse Jackson has another son named Yusef Jackson. And Yusef Jackson was one of the pallbearers of Mark Weiner, whose daughter, again, Zoe Weiner, Candace Owens starts her company with. Now, Yusef Jackson, as I can show here, Yusef Jackson, if I go to Jeffrey Epstein, I have a very weird Jeffrey Epstein page right now. I'm just collecting things as I find them. If you go to the Jeffrey Epstein page, you'll see that in the year 2017, on June 16th, the Chicago Magazine ran an article titled, "Under the Radar, the Media Shy Yusef Jackson, third son of the famous Reverend." And again, the famous Reverend Jesse Jackson is the person that I think bears much responsibility for Candace Owens being where she is and the fact that you know about her. He, at this time, back in 2007, became the primary financial supporter of a magazine called Radar. Radar magazine. And I finally got my missing episodes of Radar, by the way. Finally, they came in today. You know, it's interesting that we're talking about Meghan Markle today because it just so happens that one of the last issues of Radar that I didn't get till today is actually called Dirty Harry. So Dirty Harry, you know, one of the potential princes, was on the cover of this one here. It also has a great article about the CIA and all kinds of other. Larry David, actually, and Larry David's wife, Lori David of Seinfeld. And pretty amazing that I finally got this one in today. Oh, yeah, and the other missing episode of Radar that I got today has Anna Wintour on. And that's interesting because Anna Wintour was the boss of Candace Owens when Candace Owens was at Vogue. Remember, Candace Owens went to Vogue, along with Candace Owens' friend Zoe Weiner, who's the daughter of Mark Weiner, passed in 2016. And their boss, the owner of Condé Nast, is Anna Wintour, Devil Wears Prada, who's on the cover of Radar. So I bring this up because Radar magazine, as of 2007, that is being taken over and now run by the son of Jesse Jackson. The same Jesse Jackson who, by the way, I believe saved Candace Owens. The same Jesse Jackson, also known as Jessija, on the Stefan Molyneux interview that was just deleted within the last 2 or 3 weeks, evidence that Candace Owens' relationship with the Jackson family is important. The person that Yusef Jackson bought Radar from was Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, this is Jeffrey Epstein's magazine. And it's kind of odd that supposedly the world expert on all things Epstein, Whitney Webb, doesn't even mention that she uses sources from Radar magazine and Radar Online about Jeffrey Epstein, and doesn't seem to know that Jeffrey Epstein owned the magazine that are the sources for information about Jeffrey Epstein. So Whitney Webb, if she was doing her job properly, she would say that she is using Jeffrey Epstein's own sources to get information about Jeffrey Epstein. She doesn't say that, though. I say that. And this is because this is the stuff I know, because I'm the only person doing any real legitimate research on who the hell Candace Owens is and isn't. So let us continue here. So this is Yusef Jackson. Yusef Jackson has also done a ton of work with a investment firm that is co-owned by a man named Merkle. In fact, Ron Merkle is referred to in this article as the mentor and the father figure and advisor of Yusef Jackson. Ronald Merkle is also a billionaire and one of the top funders of the Clintons. Ronald Merkle is also one of the top bundlers of the Clinton family in the Clinton presidency. Ronald Merkle is also a billionaire who made his money in the supermarket industry. Ronald Merkle was the owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins for a while, co-owned them with Mario Lemieux. Pittsburgh Penguins, the NHL ice hockey team. And Pittsburgh is where Giggle and Biological broadcasts out of. Jonathan Cooey, Ph.D. And here he is investing in a magazine, buying it from Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. I thought that Candace Owens knew so much about Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently not. Remember, Yusef Jackson was also one of the 8 pallbearers for Mark Weiner when Mark Weiner died at the Mark Weiner Memorial Service. But it gets better. It gets a lot better. Because the investing company that Ronald Merkle worked with, and Ronald Merkle is also a great friend of Mark Weiner. Matter of fact, Ronald Merkle was also at the memorial service of Mark Weiner, along with Bill Clinton, along with Hillary Clinton, along with Jesse Jackson, along with Terry McAuliffe, the governor of Virginia that hosted Charlottesville, along with billionaire Stephen Bing, and several other people who seem to be connected with Radar magazine, which was much of its editorial staff came from Talk, which broke up after 9/11. Interesting. So where this goes is Ronald Merkle in 2011, his investing firm, along with Yusef Jackson, became the primary owners of the SOHO house. Because I thought other people did research, but most other people that can get thousands, tens of thousands of dollars during a show, people with Super Chat, people that you will notice getting 10,000 followers a week, new followers, people have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but say that they are being censored. I thought those people were doing research, but somehow they don't have the brains or the heart or the honesty or integrity to actually do the research and show you that the SOHO house is directly connected to the entire network that Candace Owens herself traces her roots to. Also, now that you know that her roots are there, her roots are probably with Ron Burkle, who is a mentor of Yusef Jackson. Of course, Yusef Jackson, Jesse Jackson, that close with Mark Weiner. And Mark Weiner's daughter is the person that Candace Owens starts her company with in 2015, Degree 180, which then becomes socialautopsy.com. The same thing that Stefan Molyneux seems to be coaching Candace Owens not to talk so much about in these now deleted, but thankfully yours truly recovered and reposted September 10th, 2017 interview of Candace Owens on Stefan Molyneux show. So this breaking news about Meghan caught with VIP elites after Candace Owens' SOHO house. Again, you don't need to know this, what the SOHO house is. That's my job. And when I realized today I was going down this path of who's this Ronald Burkle is, what has he been investing in? Well, yeah, guess what? SOHO House. I Googled it, and it told me SOHO House was in the news 2 weeks ago from Candace Owens. Imagine me realizing that the top hit on Google about SOHO House, something that I didn't even know existed, and I only looked up because of Ronald Burkle, just happened to be the number one hit on YouTube, was a video with Candace Owens talking about it, without ever mentioning that she was an administrative vice president of some on-name investing firm in New York City. It's probably connected to Yusef Jackson and Ronald Burkle. It would make a lot of sense because another person that has done a fair amount of work and consulting for the person that Candace Owens says is her most respected person in business, Mr. Conscientious Capitalism, John Mackey of Whole Foods. The same John Mackey who is now doing a liveforever.com or something crazy like that. The same John Mackey who was on the Joe Rogan podcast not too long ago. John Mackey of Whole Foods has worked pretty extensively with several share investments with Ronald Burkle because Ronald Burkle made his billions, of course, through supermarkets. So Candace Owens at that time, again, she mentioned John Mackey in a 2016 blog, which was deleted. Yours truly recovered. Other people didn't do that. They just took your money and ran for it. They just said, wow, look at me. Look at all of our subscribers. We're so censored still. They should have read that old blog post, but they failed. Instead, some of them actually did videos. You wouldn't even believe the language that they've used about Candace Owens and about myself. It's remarkable how fragile their little egos are. But anyways, there you go. I'm now pretty sure that the investing firm or firms that Candace Owens worked with are going to be in the orbit of Ronald Burkle and Yusef Jackson. Some Manhattan offices. I know that 99% of the real estate that's owned by this investing firm that's owned by Ronald Burkle are all in Manhattan. It makes sense. Yusef Jackson was the owner of Radar Magazine. Radar Magazine, of course, is very, very friendly with Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour owned Vogue. Candace Owens worked at Vogue. People who know Candace Owens should say this, but they don't. And does this mean Candace Owens is good or bad? I don't really care. That's not the point. The point isn't Candace Owens good, Candace Owens bad. That's missing the point. Let me just catch my breath for a moment, and then I'm going to do a quick recap, say hi, and then I have a date to get to tonight. It's 8:32 p.m. Saturday, January 24th, 2026. This is a service I went to yesterday. She's the Bianca Rose Wakeman. She was 6 years old. She was the daughter of a cousin who I haven't been that close with over the last several years. Age 6.5, passed away January 16th. Her parents are Nicole Patrick Wakeman. She was born with a very significant amount of health issues, and it was a tough road for her. I guess I bring it up. I mean, we've had our losses, and I despise people who are seeking sympathy because other people had losses. It's I think I bring it up because the content that we are discussing, this history of genetic research, this history of trade-offs in our country, in our health, in our healthcare policy, in our lives, in our freedoms, because of pursuits which are so big they transcend things which we are seen to be capable of talking about. All right. When I see noise being created in the podcast sphere, and people getting so outrageously upset about such crazy things, wasting time, wasting money, wasting your time, wasting my time, and so on. It's really serious. There's someone that came on the scene recently who was, some of you may know the name. I don't even want to know this just jerk's name. Something to do with the Charlie Kirk assassination. And he does these shows where he's some dad. I don't know where the hell he lives. He got like 7 kids or 9 kids. And he has the energy to yell into the camera that Erica Kirk is embezzling money or something. He is more mad about Erica Kirk embezzling money than he would be if 4 of his kids died in a car accident. And I'm just thinking, like, what is going on here? How? I just don't get it. Like it sort of reminds me of a sports fan being mad that the head coach of their team picked the wrong person to start at nose tackle for a season or something like why are you so mad about this? You know, decisions that are being made now are killing people, and I don't mean like another person was shot today with the immigrations and customs. I'm talking about the fact that we're losing 300 to 400 people a day with fatal drug overdoses, and no one will mention it because they're still all caught up in Charlie Kirk. Anyways, that really wasn't a very contiguous, well-constructed series of thoughts. But if people are to make shows after themselves, okay, after who they project themselves to be, the so-and-so show, then you need to show some vulnerabilities every once in a while and some real human reactions and responses that make sense. You should be mad about some things, and you should not be mad about other things. There's no rational reason for any person to be more invested in whether or not Erica Kirk embezzled money from Turning Point USA than they are in everything else in their life. Who cares? What? I have a list. I could probably compile a list of 1 million organizations and companies and LLCs for the United States of America that are screwing around with money right now. Are you going to go after every single one of them? Nobody cares. Get your priorities in order. And again, it's not a contiguous series of thoughts, but when you just see, and I just see the loss that my cousin is going to have to deal with right now, and It's shattering. Okay, it's shattering. And I guess what I did was I just made a decision to show that these things are happening to me. These things happening to many of you. I read your letters. When it comes to the more personal stuff, I don't share that stuff on the air. And these real responses and these real vulnerabilities, you should be seen every once in a while, so that somebody is real. It's otherwise, how can you say that you're a real person if you're not acting like a real human? So, after yesterday, and again, this is not about me. This is about their loss, and I was actually so honored to be able to meet her dad. I've been quite removed, but he gave that girl everything for 6 years. He dedicated his life. Think of all the challenge. Think of all the things that some people complain about. They complain about their car gas mileage, and they complain about global warming, and they complain about their parents, and they complain about Trump, and they'll complain about Biden, and they'll complain about this and everything he had to go through. And he stood there. He stood by the side of his wife, and he was there for his daughter, who had everything against her. And I was just like, yeah, you're a hero to me. This is thank you for being the strong person. I respect that so much. So I don't know why I just wanted to share that. But you should see. If you see your favorite, another podcaster that you're following every day getting more upset about why is Erica Kirk dancing like that when her husband died. Oh, well, first off, you idiot, it's probably because he's in witness protection and not actually dead, or she wasn't married to him in the first place. And even so, why do you care so much about that? So I'm going to look at this. Hello, Arthur. Former central banker to Canada and England. Mark Carney, is he back in charge? And hello, Subi. Every once in a while, I need to vent a little bit. I think it's important. I think it's important to see the how this stuff catches up. And I don't understand Bianca's health conditions well enough, how they could be or were not related to bigger picture things, which we've been discussing here. But it's heavy. Okay, we're not having fun talking about Area 51 alien conspiracies. Which, by the way, I am looking at some more space stuff, anyways. But it should just catch up to people every once in a while. It should. This is heavy stuff. It's heavy stuff. SOHO House. I'm reading this. SOHO House looks like one of those globalism secret society spun-offs from Spook Inc. What I see them as is it's like a professional service that's available for people who have a lot of money. I mean, the fact that some people can have billions of dollars is in of itself weird. There's no way in the natural world for any one person to do enough or have accomplished enough to have the net worth of, millions of other people. So clearly the fact that people can be billionaires and trillionaires is a byproduct of a messed up fiscal system. That's not a statement of being against capitalism. It's just weird. But anyways, some people have a lot of money, and I presume if you have a lot of money that there may be worldviews you have or challenges that you have that you would want to find someone who maybe would understand those things. What are you going to do? Throw out a dating ad? Be like, hey, I got $1 billion. I got $20 billion, and living with the paparazzi is tough. What are you going to do? Go out on speed dating and try to figure out someone? So you join a club like that, and I'm sure that there's eligible bachelorettes who sign up, they interview, and they play like a matchmaker thing. It's not a secret society type thing. It's matchmakers for people who are, in different groups. different circles. I'm not someone that overly thinks all of these things from a conspiratorial standpoint. Are there some conspiracies involved in them? Probably. I don't discount it, but I try to be somewhat empathetic to the fact that it's I don't know. I think you know what I'm trying to stumble across here. No words are suitable. No words are suitable. It's something to. Yeah. If LARPers go off script, they get whacked or otherwise disappear. I fear about Candace Owens maybe not being around much longer on the script. I don't know. We'll see. She is bitten off a lot. She's bitten off way more. She is involved in some pretty extraordinary lies. Let's put it that way. I think right now. And I don't know how she's going to handle that for another, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. So be on the lookout. Remember, they took Charlie Kirk out, took him out on September 10th, 2025, day before 9/11, so that they could talk about Israel being bad all through then. On the 25th anniversary of 9/11, I think it's a pretty safe bet that something's going to happen. The day before, Candace Owens will disappear, and they'll blame it on Bibi Netanyahu, Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein, or something like that, and the Chinese. I don't know. And it'll be the perfect opportunity to get everyone to, yet again, not actually have any intelligent conversations about Bio 9/11 truth, Bio 9/11 truth, or anything else. I expect something like that again this year. So that's my show. It's really more of an update show. It's an hour 7. I got some things I can clip out. Tomorrow, no more new research. I don't think tomorrow. I have a couple days of mail to go through. So expect a couple of mail shows to come up. MAIL, not MALE. And I think that's it for now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping in, saying hi. Thank you, Subi. I'll see you guys tomorrow, on and off throughout the day. Big snowstorm. I think we're right. We're in the jackpot. Look for where the 18 is. You're going to see my little house somewhere in the 8, Southborough, Massachusetts. So you guys take care. Love you much. Be well. Be peaceful. And be real. God bless.